Hello and welcome to MagPiece. Finally, we're up, we're running. Liam, it's been a long wait.
It's been a long-winded wait. I think after a name change, a lawsuit threat, we're finally here.
Yeah, long time coming. And who else to start off with? Newcastle's very own Adam Pearson, Adam P. We all love him.
Someone who, has taken, I think, Newcastle YouTube by storm. Adam, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for bigging me up as well. I do appreciate it. Yes, it's good to be back. We had a lot of things in the past. We were working for a news company or whatnot, but now we're all freelance. Now we get to do what we want when we want. So I appreciate it, lads. Thank you so much for having me on, and it's good to be back in the podcast scene, I suppose. Thank you.
Yeah, we had a little kickabout before. There's a video kicking about and how you did your best Shearer impression and
Great finish.
It was a cracking
To
finish.
be honest, I half screwed him up with the bobble on the pitch, but finished like a natural striker.
kept his composure.
Who needs that to keep it? Yeah.
Exactly.
But talking of, he was a potential signing that's in the bin. The smoke's rising out of St James's. Nick Pope has signed as of right now as we're recording. The club's just announced on Twitter. Adam, you were there earlier today. What was the feel round? How were people feeling about the signing?
Well, obviously the goalkeeper position, the fact that Nick Pope as well as I do think he's a class goalkeeper, but ultimately he did get relegated last season with Burnley, regardless of what people think. So I don't think it's a sign that's going to put everyone away, but it's just smart how he's rebuild the club. Not every sign is going to be a 10 out of 10 that everyone should be buzzing about, but these signs are smart. They're done for the future of this football club. He's someone that will come in and help out the goalkeeper situation, help take the Bradford as well as himself to that next level. It's about just building the club up from the ground up, and I think it's a really good signing. It's just one that's been done over a course of one night. Really, it hasn't been something that just dragged on, which we can obviously see about bottom like ITK'S. It's just been a nightmare. But this one was just nice and done. It's been thought through. It hasn't been a rush signing, and I mean, what do we say? It's a Newcastle signing that hasn't been dramatised. It's not often you get to say that, but yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, it's not been one that. Where they're apparently being spotted in several different hotels the night before. We'll get on to Newcastle Twitter and said in the nose later on.
Yeah. I think
yeah.
just talking about Nick Pope there. There's the big discussion is him versus Dubravka and that battle for the number one shirt. And what's your sort of opinion on that? Do you reckon that Pope would go straight into the number one spot, or do you think he will really have to fight Dubravka for it?
No, I think one thing Eddie Howe has done quite well is create competition. Every single position we bought in has been someone in there that's going to create competition. And with a guy like Nick Pope, he's designed to bring the best out of Dubravka as well as himself. And I think, personally for me, my opinion is it's Martin Dubravka's spot to lose. He's our number one goalkeeper and he has been for the last few years. So I think just to kick him out of the squad straight away, I think would be classed as somewhat a bit disrespectful. So it's his spot to lose. It's not just on the pitch as well, but training. He has to work hard in training. I think Eddie Howe, it's a good opportunity to have someone breathing down Dubravka's neck. I think over the last few seasons with the likes of Darlow, Woodman, they're just goalkeepers that I think all fans know is a level down in Dubravka. And I think with someone like Nick Pope, I think they're both on par with the same ability, so it's someone there that's going to pretty much kick him up the backside. And whenever Dubravka has a bad performance or he drops a howler, then I think Nick Pope will come in. So I think at the minute Dubravka will still be the number one, but I think it could be on borrowed time.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Dubravka hasn't had really any competition whatsoever. He was injured for a fair bit of time this season. And as soon as he was back fit again, he was back into the starting 11, and that was after the rest of the season, basically. So, yeah, I think it is good that he has got that little bit more competition,
Yeah, I mean, look, Nick Pope's worlds away from Darlow and Woodman. I mean, Darlow had that one spell where everyone was like, oh, England call up maybe, but it's just never been solidly reliable. I mean, I'd be all for it if he was, and I maybe thought, I know Dean Henderson's going back to Forest. I don't know whether they would have done a package deal where Lascelles and maybe Darlow both go that way, but it's looking like Darlow might go to Borough. There's whispers around of that. But what I wanted to get on with Woodman, do you think he ever got the fair knock at Newcastle? I mean, he was kind of being like Fraser Foster 2.0, really, hasn't he?
Wow. The thing is with Woodman, it's probably different to Forster as well. At Newcastle, he got genuine Premier League game time, and that's something that Forster didn't really get that much of. And in the games that he played, he didn't really impress, and it's simple as that. I don't think, at the time he definitely wasn't Premier League quality. Was he out on loan to Swansea again this season?
No, he went to Bournemouth this season.
He went to Bournemouth. I don't really know how he did at Bournemouth, but I think at the moment he probably is that sort of championship level goalkeeper. In the future, we might be kicking ourselves for letting him go, but at the moment I think it probably is right from to have left.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, he's still young, and I mean, keepers are the kind that you sign up. Nick Pope's 30, and that's like barely touching prime really for a keeper. I mean, you look at, he's a bit of an odd one out, but Buffon, look at, he's 40 odd playing still at top level. Yeah. ITK'S, one we're seemingly going to be missing out on due to what seems as another greedy agent asking for more fees. What's reported is the deal was agreed between us and Reims. Wages were maybe perhaps agreed, if we're led to believe that. Talks were told by Sky last week that things were going well, and suddenly the bomb drops today that we're looking to pull out of negotiations. Adam, is it one that you may be a bit gutted about, that we're not gonna get Hugo, or are you happy that we might be looking onto different options?
Well, personally for me, I haven't watched him before, so I can't really comment and go, this kid's world class or this kid's not good enough to Premier League. I can't do that. But I think the fact that you owners try to get him in 2 consecutive transfer windows now, I think speaks volumes. We obviously had a bit of an injury spell in the second half of the season, so we went back in for him again. I think it's a huge blow, I really do. We tried to get him on deadline day, but the player didn't want to relocate at the time, so the club obviously couldn't get the deal done. We went back in for him now, we had the deal agreed, and his agent is just taking a mick. He's looking for our football club, he's trying to, I don't know, just give the player a false hope. I feel like there's something not truthfully going on here. I think between the agent or the player, that someone's total lie to the club clearly, because we had the deal agreed and also we don't have it agreed. So I have no idea what's going on. I think it's huge for the owners to miss out on this player, because again, it's clearly shown from the owners' intent that they wanted this player. So I think it's a big one for them. But there's plenty more fish in the ocean. You can just go back out there and there's plenty more strikers to go. This player, he has the prospect of being world class. He's not quite there yet. It's a big gamble, I feel like, for someone that's, younger than us. I'll be standing outside a training ground for someone that's 2 years younger than me. I'd just be mental. So there's a lot of pressure for him. I'm hoping, obviously, that we make the right call, even though it wasn't completely out of our hands in this one. I'm hoping that he doesn't turn out to be the next Kylian Mbappe. I've been gutted. This won't be like a time that we turn down to Derby. Why do we do that? So I'm hoping that obviously he isn't turning out to be the best thing, but this is a huge blow for Newcastle. I'm devastated for the owners in this one, but it's just time to tell, really. It's just one of those sort of ones.
I think the thing with ITK'S as well is the fact that it hasn't gone over the line this time. It might be, quite significant, and maybe it's quite a bad thing for Newcastle as well, because in January we went after him. He was a young lad, 19 years old. This is his first professional season as well, by the way. When you're getting slapped with a £30 million price tag, it's going to play on your mind, I think. And in January it definitely played on his mind, because he changed his decision last minute. This summer, we've gone in, like you said, possibly wages agreed, personal terms agreed, and then the agents sort of dug his heels in and asked for more money. It is really going to play on his mind, I think, this situation, and maybe in a month or so's time, if we do go back in for him, it might be a different story.
Yeah, we had this conversation before about agents. I just really cannot stand them. I don't like how it works. The whole agent's fee gets added into the transfer fee. For me, it represents, these will, as far as I understand it, I'm not a professional footballer. I don't know how the ins and outs really work. But as far as I would understand, as an organisation would reach out to you saying, look, we represent X amount of players, world class. We'll represent you. You pay us as little fee, and then where they're really getting the money from is these moves, which is why you see it's like Mickey Almiron's agents always yapping up he's going to Atletico Madrid and stuff, and it's just because he's trying to get more money for his player and, more importantly, more money for himself, and that's what ITK'S agent, to me, that's what he's done, is wanted as much money out of this deal, and the club have put the foot down, fair enough, which is what I like about this. We're not going to be pushover, and there's not going to be a Newcastle tax that everyone's saying there is if we just refuse to play it, because we'll just tell teams, right, well, off basically. We're not buying your player. And for me, a key resolution to this would be, look, as a player, you'll be paying for these people to like represent you. You pay your agent an annual, like a wage, a salary, and you ban agent fees in transfers, because I mean this is what's pushing like transfers like so high. I mean, look how like wealthy Mino Raiola was in the contract list he had, and the players that he represented. Like, he was worth a mint because of what he was getting from agent fees. So for me, that's something that really needs to go in football.
The thing with that, and once again, this is something that we spoke about on the way to have a kick about before. You know, if you take the agent fees out of a transfer deal and force it onto the player's just going to ask for more money.
Yeah.
And then we're basically in the same sort of situation as we were before, where, you know, in this case it'll be the player that digs his heels in and says, you know, I want an extra 10 grand a week. And that's just going to be the recurring problem. And that's why agents in particular are so annoying in football. And in this case, once again, it's ITK'S agent. He's a young lad, you know, £30 million transfer. He's thinking, I want $5 million of that.
Oh, mate, like, I'm sure as like when his agent seen how well he's played last season, like the stats that came out of it, he'll have been going like this, because he knows, like, he'll have probably been getting a big enough fee in January. He was probably rubbing his hands then, and then to come to the summer, he's probably like thinking, yeah, great, like, and it's just it's annoying. I think would it be down to, like, well, because you were saying before the agents would probably ask the players for more money, but then if the players just refuse to play it, they're not going to have, they can't ask for that amount of money. For me, it should be left on the players to just solely pay your agent as, like, well, someone you employ, really.
The thing is, though, with ITK, I think in particular, because he's such a young lad, there's been more sort of interest from other clubs as well. And once again, the agents will just be rubbing their hands, just like you did before, you know. And it's not just clubs like us as well. It's Borussia Dortmund, it's Tottenham Hotspur, it's Real Madrid, it's PSG. You know, big teams that are after this player. And they'll pay the money. Yeah. They'll not dig their heels in. They'll pay all the agents' fees. So it worries me, I think, because, you know, if we don't land him now, who's going to land him in a week or two's time?
And the thing with the agents as well is that the agent's not going in Newcastle's best interest. Of course, they've got to go in their best interest and the player's best interest. So I feel like he's almost like a puppeteer. He's just telling Hugo, listen, you want to Real Madrid, we want a PSG, we want to buy him, I'll make that happen, don't we? Just forget about Newcastle, just forget about it. And that's kind of a problem, because you could argue that the player's getting false hope, really, because he's a young lad. Let's be honest, he's just turned 20. He's probably naive. He's not going to know the football world inside out, you could argue. So it's a tough time for the player, because obviously we don't know the stuff behind the scenes. I can't just put all these allegations and that in, but there's something doesn't feel right about it, in my opinion. Something does seem a bit off, and I think for Newcastle to lose out on this player, well, reportedly losing out on this player, it's going to be a massive blow, and I think for the player as well, it's just not going to be ideal for him, because he's still looking for a club at the minute.
Do you think it is we've just getting sick of the agent? Do you think that's totally what's done it? Nothing to do with the player or anything? Because I know there was just some tweets going about that Real were interested in him, and then I think Fabrizio came out and said no, they're not at all. And he's reliable for transfers anyway, but for Real he's spot on. So for me, I think that's his agent's been swindling, trying to say X club's interested in my player, like they're gonna come and get him, and trying to try and force us to pay that fee. And like I said before, this is what I like about this ownership. They're not going to take bollocks from other teams and agents and pay the so-called Newcastle tags.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's a shame that we've pulled out, but I think in the circumstances where the player wouldn't really benefit, it would be more the agent that would benefit. You know, it's got to happen. It has got to happen.
Yeah. Adam, who would you maybe look as a maybe, no, I wouldn't say replacement for ITK because we haven't actually signed him to replace, but who would you like to see if the club is definitely moving on? Who would you like to see maybe go for? Would you just go for straight away a marquee signing instead, or would you maybe want to see someone with potential? Because I mean, you kind of overlook. I mean, you cannot overlook Callum Wilson. Like when he's playing, he's fit. He's one of the best strikers in the Prem, hands down. But it's his fitness.
He's poison chalice in it. The injuries.
Well, it's a tricky one with strikers because Newcastle in January we wanted an experienced striker, which we got in Chris Wood, and we wanted a young up and coming striker who had the prospect of being like a world class star, which we had with ITK. Now that this one looks to be over, then what are we going to do now? We're going to continue to go for another young player because let's be real, Chris Wood, regardless of what you think about him, I would say has underperformed. He's only scored about 2-3 goals. I can't remember anymore, but it's been a low number. I think I did expect a little bit more from him. The fact that he had double figures in the past 4 seasons in a row. It's just, I don't know what it was. He just wasn't clicking particularly well. Eddie Howe's style of play. So I don't know what the club's going to do next, but I think a strike was needed. We know Callum Wilson will get injured. It's just inevitable. His career is just always, unfortunately, had an effect on his career, and he just will get injured. So we need someone in there that can fill the void, because if he gets injured for 6 months, and what are we going to do up top? It's going to be another one of them. Well, we can't rely on Sir Maxon and whoever's on the other side, and it's not ideal. We need a striker that we know is going to score goals. So I think experience is probably best, but listen, what would the club feel like is the best choice to go for? But as for an actual target, I have no idea at the minute. There are a few names out there, but which one's going to join Newcastle, I feel like, is the biggest problem.
Especially, I mean, I would love for young English talent to come in, but then again, it's the English tax is massive at the minute. Is anyone you would maybe think that you could go for?
English, off the top of my head, I can't really think of anyone.
Maybe see, I've seen him glimpses of Joe Gelhardt that's at
Gelhardt
Leeds.
from Leeds,
But I think you'd be charged over the moon for him.
Before he signed his contract, I would have maybe said Eddie Nketiah.
Yeah.
But apart from that, you know, you can't really pick anyone out at the minute. Yeah, not really.
I've seen Dominic Calvert pop up quite a lot, but I'm not a fan of him.
Again, he's about the same as Callum Wilson. He's poison chalices. He's injury prone. It is because there's only so many young talents. I mean, the two that were at Salzburg, Adeyemi and Sesko, both signed by Bundesliga teams. And I mean, I think Adeyemi was dying to sign for Dortmund ever since. I don't think we're getting a look in there. It's just. I would like to see someone like that come in, like a proper young prospect who you can get excited to watch, bleed them into the team and see them come up. And the one thing I don't want us to be is a stepping stone club. I think that the whole point of the ownership and the project now is to not be like that, not be like a Southampton has been for like players, or like what Dortmund has been really for Haaland, and then Adeyemi could potentially be as well. So that's what I really don't want us to be. I know, Christ, I've just compared us to Dortmund, but I don't want us to be like a stepping stone. Yeah, if we're going to sign someone young, I want them to develop at the club. And look, I know they're not going to be a one club player like a Mark Noble, like especially someone like ITK. But just someone that's going to be at the club for a couple of years and give us a good service all round.
Yeah, completely agree.
I think with Newcastle, obviously with the previous ownership, I mean, let's be honest, we just ran like a shop. So we bring in young up and coming players, have a couple of good seasons, and we make a profit off them. And that was just an investment scheme. Really, there was nothing else to it. We weren't trying to build players and have them for the long term. But with Newcastle now, we're trying to build players up for 3-4 seasons. I think Bruno's a great example of a player that is obviously a really good football player, and he's someone that's happy with the club, wants to spend a few seasons at the club, wants to build up as a player, and he's just going to help everyone else amongst in the team. Everyone's going to feel like it's a project to build on. Everyone's going to go for that goal, and that's just something we never had under the previous ownership. And I feel like now when new players come in, they're not coming in because it's a Premier League. They're not coming in because it's a a decent money contract. They come in because there's an end goal for their careers, and there's an actual project to go on. So that's a huge sort of pull factor for Newcastle. And yes, admittedly at the minute we're not going to get these world class stars because we haven't got that European football, but we actually got a team now where we can start to build towards a European spot, and then we can look for bigger and better stars, and it's just going to be a game of chess for you. Just play little pieces, and eventually we get the results we want.
Yeah.
I have to say, I mean, I know we've not got him, but Christ, I'm just happy the saga's, if it is over, it's over ethically. We can move on. It's just Botman now.
Yeah.
Now we're just waiting for is it happening? Is it not? Hopefully, and I mean, it's different things, different days about AC Milan. They've got the money, they haven't got the money, they're pulling out, they're not pulling out, and the players, quite rightfully, not saying anything. He said he wants to move in the summer. He hasn't said where he wants to go. And I mean, look, they've just won the league, they're in the Champions League. I can understand why, if he's wanting to go to AC Milan, maybe waiting out, I can understand why, but I would really love Botman to come in and be like our Vincent Kompany was at Man City, someone that can stay around and maybe become club captain down the years. Liam, have you got your heart set on Botman? Are you ready to move on?
See, it's once again, it's one of these players who was linked in January. AC Milan at the minute just feel like, a man who doesn't know whether he wants to be a dad yet, if they want to stay in or if they want to go out. Cut that out of the podcast. I had that in my head. Right, edit that bit out.
Yeah.
So with Botman, he's one of them players who we were linked with in January, and it looked, dead set like we were signing him. He was liking pictures on the Instagrams of like goal.com or whoever it was of him in a Newcastle shirt and things like that.
Bridges.
Yeah, bridges. He loved the bridges. Everyone loves the bridges, but Sven...
Pauls, I don't know if you're watching. I hope you're watching. Get the cakes out, because it does seem cakes on the new bridges. Yeah.
The cakeman. Look, I'd love Botman to come. This is a young centre back who very, very clearly has a lot of potential. It won a league title at Lille as well, I believe. This lad's got so much potential, and he's wanted by these big clubs, including ourselves. Let's throw the book at him. Let's throw everything at him.
I would happily. I would love him to come in. And I mean, look, Shaw's and Byrne have both done great jobs, but they're getting on.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean, they're not old, but you start losing your legs when you get that bit older, and the Premier League's becoming it's getting so quicker paced. Every year it seems that you're getting faster players coming in, and I think some younger legs and in Botman would be a brilliant signing if we get him in. Adam, are you still stuck on Botman? Are you still wanting him to come in? Or?
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, once again, just like as you said before, we were trying to get Botman in January. He outright said he wanted to join the football club of Manchester City, admit this in one of the interviews. So, I mean, the fact that the player said in January he wanted to join, I mean, I know it's a different window now, we've got AC Milan heavily involved, but I feel like AC Milan got a lot of problems, of course, just like us a couple of years ago, they had the takeover issue, they're trying to get a takeover sorted, and we all know how difficult that can be to spend money. Is Zlatan Ibrahimovic, he's just got injured, so he's hitting on about 40 now, he's going to be out for the full season, so you need another striker, and we've got all sorts of problems financially with Renato Sanchez, so you've got all these different factors just brewing in the background, so I really feel like it's a bad time for AC Milan to try and get this player in. So Newcastle, I think we're trying our best to take full advantage of it, but it just seems to be that problem again. January, Leo just want more money. They want to just squeeze more money out of this club, and this is something we can't fall into the trap of. I know people are excited, people are getting a bit impatient, and we want to see Botman at the football club. But if we do this now and we overpay for Botman, every single club will just see what we've done here and they'll just add this Newcastle tax. Now, I don't really believe it's somewhat the Newcastle tax. I believe it's just a tax for any team that has a lot of money, which of course we do. So I think the tax is quite just well-rounded for all sorts of these teams, but we cannot fall for this sort of trap because you saw with teams like Everton, Aston Villa, Man United, you got these teams that have expensive players and big money contracts who underperform and have teams that have financial fair play struggles, and we just can't have these things because it will affect our long-term ambition. So we've got to play this smart, we've got to take it one step at a time. Last thing we can do is regret a signing, and we've got to make sure that we just play the cards right. But I still think we got a good chance for this one. We just had to, of course, find a price that matches us and Leo, but that's going to be a big struggle in itself, judging by Leo.
I mean, who knows, by the time we're getting this out, I mean, like we said, we're filming this on the Thursday that Nick Pope's just been announced. He might have signed, so maybe we should give a... we've
got him. Finally. He's got the Milan.
It's over now. Yeah.
It's one of them.
We'll leave on the last transfer talk for now, because I think it'll segue nicely into in the next part. Like we said before, the man who was in many hotels last night, what he was doing, I don't know. Christian Eriksen, I would welcome him with wide open arms. I think he's an excellent professional. For him to come back and bounce back from what happened at the Euros so quickly as well, by the way, definitely get him in that team straight away.
Yeah, well, Christian Eriksen, he was in Malmaison, wasn't he? He was in the Premier Inn, he was in the Travelodge, he was in the Mouth of the Tyne at one point. You know, it's so weird, you know, the rumours that have come out about this fella, but he's rejected Man United apparently. Brentford have got an offer on the table for him. Of course, he spent 6 months at Brentford, did really, really well. You know, even after all the problems he's had, he's still at that pace in the Premier League, a fantastic pace as well, by the way. Why wouldn't you want Christian Eriksen?
Exactly. I mean, some of the goals he scored as well while he was at Tottenham, his link-up play, flourished at Inter, like you said, great graft at Brentford. I don't kind of go wrong with this signing.
Oh no, it's still top of his game. I don't think obviously he's as good as he was before he had that cardiac arrest, but he's really is still. I think Brentford, especially in the second half of the season, was flawless at times. Really, the exception of a couple of matches, the majority of the time we're picking up really big results, and it's down to someone like Christian Eriksen. The exact thing Newcastle need, in my opinion, in terms of the midfield, is a player that can come in. It doesn't have to be every single week, but someone that can just come in now and again, be a squad rotation player, and just be someone that in the dressing room will help take these players to the next level, like a Kieran Trippier. So someone in there that has that voice, and someone that you just know is a natural born winner, and he would just make your players around him just better. Just his presence in the dressing room. So I think with Christian Eriksen, it's a no-brainer. Yeah, a no-brainer.
I think the main threat is that Brentford come in and offer 10k less than what we offer.
Oh well, you know, that's always that problem, eh?
Once again, game gone at that point.
So we mentioned the numerous hotel spottings that Christian Eriksen was obviously spotted in every hotel in about a 10-mile radius of St James's last night apparently. We need to address Newcastle, these so-called in the nose. I think it's getting out of hand now. I don't know whether, obviously they claim they're getting it from official sources at the club, I would suppose. Adam, what's your whole take on these in the know?
So these in the know accounts, pretty much they have a source from inside the club. So there'll be someone inside the club leaking them information. Yeah, so there'll be someone in there that's sort of planting the seeds and telling these people on Twitter, you know, there's Kevin guy on Twitter, there's Barry guy on Twitter, you know, whoever there's some guy on Twitter be getting this incredible, it's this club information. I mean, yes, every single football club have these. This isn't just a Newcastle United thing. There'll be people out there that would just benefit from this because people get excited when they see this stuff. As you can see on Twitter or YouTube, where these things get numbers, people love to hear news about the football club, and there's people out there that will take advantage of that. So I'm not going to single people out here. You know who they are. These people out there, I can't validate anything they have because I don't know who their sources are. I'm pretty confident it would just be from Keith from down the street. You know, it's just going to be some random geezer. It's not going to be someone inside the club. I think the last thing the club's going to do is leak information out, especially to some people on Twitter. Because especially with ongoing deals as well, this leaked information could actually sort of sabotage deals really. So the club would keep things tight down. For example, me at the stadium today. I mean, it's very hard to have a look around for Nick Pope. I mean, they even secretive on that. So the last thing I think they're going to be doing is leaking information out. So that's just my personal take on it. But I mean, people can have their opinion. I'm not going to tell you not to what and not to believe really. So
yeah, just because you know you can put accredited journalist in your bio. you can put a load of eye emojis on your tweet.
That's
You can
they're
say
the ones.
if something happens, if you say like I said, look, it doesn't mean anything. I think the main thing for me is I just really hope these people, and once again, you know who you are, aren't getting. I just hope these people aren't getting any sort of financial gain from this, because if there would be, I think it's disgusting that.
Yeah, it's just total false information. Isn't it?
Well, obviously the ones on YouTube will straight off they will get monetized in the videos, but the Twitter one there won't.
Yeah. It really annoys us because there are people on a platform like Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, you know, YouTube as well, that they genuinely do believe these rumours. You know, when I was a bit younger, I was a little bit silly and I tweeted something about the takeover and a new manager coming in, thinking, it's going to be so funny, I'm going to get a load of clicks. I apologise, by the way. I'm a bit older now. I was a young lad then, young silly lad. But, you know, you sort of realise the amount of people that actually do believe the waffle that, you know, people can just come out with.
Yeah.
That for me, it was just a blind chuck onto Twitter to get a few clicks, a few likes, and a bit of engagement and have a bit of a laugh.
You really do feel disgusted with yourself.
No,
I can tell it in the tone of your voice.
I was really annoyed.
Do you repent your sins?
Why?
Your NUFC Twitter sins.
I speak to Pope, he'll sort you out.
Yeah. I did see the white smoke before, like. But if I'm doing that just for a bit of a laugh, these people are doing it seriously. And the amount of people that the amount of followers that they've gained, things like that, it is really, it's quite shocking, I think, when you look at it. And, you know, like I said, some people will believe this, some other people know it's waffle, but it is a shame, I think, because, you know, you put all this false information out, you know, like we said, we've got these sources, whatever, but people will really rely on these things. And, you know, we talk about how, you know, the betting odds, for example, for Christian Eriksen have you know, been slashed. People, when they see these tweets saying he's in this hotel, he's doing this, he's doing that.
Oh yeah, they're gonna believe it.
They're gonna lump a load of money. You know, this isn't a big example, but some people will lump a load of money on. They can put the house on it, and if it doesn't happen, and he does stay at Brentford or he goes to a Man United or whatever, they can lose all their money. Who's that down to? It's down to the person that put out this false information. And it's, when you think about it like that, in terms of people believing things, it's surely got to stop.
Yeah, it's dangerous. Like, and I mean, look, journalists get like things wrong. Look on Sky Sports last week, it was looking good, but that's maybe because that's what it was at the time. But they're not going, he's definitely signing. Like, there was one a couple of weeks ago, the Paqueta deal's done and dusted. Like, putting a player's name with some like emojis next to it, like a few eyes and a tick and stuff, and it's just like, it's getting to the point now where I say them, I just block them, because it's just I can't be bothered having them on my timeline. If I want to see proper news coming through, like, I'll look out for Keith Downey, obviously, Pete Graves, Luke Edwards, Mark Douglas, Chris Wolf. You know, these guys, like, proper accredited people who know what they're talking about, do actually have sources at the club, and not like bottles of Heinz and Hellmann's, like so-called sources they have. Like, you do just want like proper information. Like you said, it can be dangerous. I've never thought of it that way, and now I do. It just makes it more annoying, to be honest.
Yeah, I think, you know, if they watch this podcast or listen to this podcast, I don't know. But if they do, then yeah, just have a look at yourselves, man. Honestly, have a look at yourselves.
Shame.
But yeah, like, you know, like I said before, you know, we all like to have a bit of a laugh and things on Twitter. Yeah. You know, Adam, some of the content you put out is fantastic, Andy, yourself as well. But it's when it gets serious and it gets dangerous, you know, you've really got to sort of think about things. And these in the know accounts, you know, some of them, they really need to have a think about what they're saying before, you know, anything bad happens.
Yeah. Adam, big season coming up. What's your plans? I know you're off to sunny Portugal for pre-season, and then big season, mate. You must be looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to get back down and watching Eddie Howe's Mighty Mags again. It's going to be another great one. I think for the women's team as well, especially. I was happy how the first season went with them in terms of my YouTube channel, but I think I can do a lot more. I think I could, so I'm going to hopefully get in contact with them and get a few different videos planned as well as just improving the overall match day content for home and away games. So I think that's quite huge. Obviously, 22,000 of first ever match St James Park is an exceptional attendance, one of the biggest ever in women's football in the UK. So hopefully you can build on that because the club will actively try and get more games at St James's Park. So that's great to see. So I'm looking forward to get back with them again. As for the main team, of course, we got the Triple One Lisbon. We've got Nottingham Forest, Fulham, and Bournemouth in the Premier League now. So that's 3 new grounds I haven't been to. It's going to be a great season. I personally believe the club will try and get a conference spot to a top 8. My honest prediction is about a top 10. I still think there's a little bit of a stretch to get there. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully we just get straight to Europe because there's nothing I would love more than to go to these random countries on a Thursday night. I think it'd be great. So hopefully things go well for Newcastle. But the point is we are trying to get somewhere that is someone we never had, and the ambition is there, the projections is there. It's just about reaching there now. Eddie Howe will do everything in his power to achieve those goals. But it's going to be a great time for everyone Newcastle United involved. I can't wait till the season begins. Now we've still got a couple more months of the transfer window, which is going to be great as well. So I can't wait to get back with the channel again. Hopefully we'll hit some bigger goals this year.
Every game again next season?
Oh yeah, every single one.
Work rate unmatched. Never mind 80 hours in an engineering shop. Work rate unmatched. Adam, we've got a few questions coming in from Twitter.
A few burning questions, I might add. Burning questions.
Okay.
I think we kind of answered this before, but this one's from Louis Thompson. It says, "Hello Adam, massive fan. Just want to ask, who would you rather as our number one, Martin Dubravka or Nick Pope?"
Well, as I said before, I think it's best to keep Martin Dubravka for now, and I think once the change comes, I think that's when I would do it. I think long term, I do expect Nick Pope to take his place. I just think he's a better goalkeeper, to be honest, in terms of a long term future. Obviously, he's a little bit younger as well as being an England national, so we'll see really. I think both of them need to work on the kicking a bit. I think especially Newcastle, for example, you see like Edison and Addison, they're really good at creating counter-attacks because they can play it onto the wingers. I think Newcastle are a bit too slow at getting out sometimes, or the passing's a bit dodgy or it just goes out of play. So I mean, there's little nitpicks he would do, but I think both goalkeepers are class. No matter who it is, I think Newcastle can be for a great time with him.
Yeah, it's great to have two very competitive keepers. For the first time in a long time, I think that since probably, I would say, Shea Given and Steve Harper, I would say. One from James Toon. How tough is it as a young man of only 20 years old to receive such unjustified scrutiny and allegations on a daily basis?
I'm not gonna lie, at first I was quite tough, especially when I first went full time, because at that point I still stick by that. It wasn't a gamble. I was happy with that choice I made, but it's still a bit of adjusting too, because I mean it's about full education. I was completely just threw out the window. I have a shot of going on YouTube. So at that moment in time, we was doing a lot of what am I going to do with the channel, how am I going to take things forward, how am I going to obviously make videos on the club. So at the time it was quite a lot to take, because obviously especially the Eddie Howe sort of exclusive, I guess you could call it. I think at that point that was the most attention I've ever received, both positive and negative. So at that point it was quite a lot to take in, but now I'm used to it. Now I kind of take advantage of it. I know how to get a reaction out of people and kind of just get myself out there more. So I couldn't care less, to be honest. You don't get this in real life. The majority of people now are obviously nice to me, or at least don't be dickheads essentially. So I just want to put you out there. Listen, I'm sorry if I make you feel bad or I let you down or you're disappointed in me, but listen, I'm happy where I am, and obviously I've got a big audience supporting me, so listen, just you call me whatever you want. Okay, that's all I can say. Okay.
I think a lot of it comes from people that don't actually watch your content and have just getting their idea from other people or what they've told you. They're like, Adam doesn't spend hours just hanging around players or around training grounds. And while I'm on it, when I was working for the last news channel I was working for, I was lucky enough to go outside the training ground cover when Steve Bruce got sacked. One thing I will say, and I don't know how on earth I do need to say this and why this came about, why I need to say this. Following players home from the training ground is not normal behaviour. Stop it. Like, don't. These players have private lives that they're more than like allowed to have like don't follow players home, and also don't stand in front of the cars when they're trying to leave the training ground, because I'm pretty sure Maxi might have a short temper one day and just think, you know what, floor it.
Well, I mean, we can't make them accusations, but I think, you know, once a player is finished training and they leave the training ground, you're sort of on that balance between, you're still on that sort of work balance and the private life balance. And then once if you know the training ground, you go down that sort of straight, turn either left and right. As you're turning left and right, that's when it transitions to fully private life. Yeah. From then, leave them alone. You know, Adam, you're very respectful, I think, to the players and everyone around there. But I think there's just got to be a message to everyone else to really respect the players, because you know, at the end of the day, you know, they're here to make their money, but they're also here to entertain us as well.
Yes, these players obviously are football players, as I said. Obviously, they're contracted Newcastle United, so that's fine. Obviously, they're not contracted Newcastle United when they're at home and enjoying time with their families or whatnot. These are human beings. It sounds pretty silly saying that, but I think a lot of people get carried away. These superstars, they're almost just robots who not actually got feelings, not got emotions. That's not true at all. These are the same as us. These are just people that are excellent football players, and obviously have got a great lifestyle because of it. I think obviously some of them are bad. I know Joe Linton's came out and said that people were knocking his fun deal. No, that was not me. I think that's an obvious one there. Of course, we had the Lucas Piquetta leak when there's people going on rooftops or sending drones and taking pictures. I have no idea how someone got a leak. That is absolutely insane. But that one was in there. We've got all sorts of different things. I think it's okay when they're obviously in a public place, even if it's not at the training ground. For example, they're walking around town. As long as you're respectful and don't obviously take the piss, I do think it's okay to go over and say hello or get a picture or whatnot. But there's boundaries being met. You've got to obviously be respectful. I think especially at the training ground. I try my best to tell people not to, but ultimately I'm not a babysitter. I'm not there to drag people off the road.
Other people that are there aren't your responsibility. Like you say, you're there to get your content, and what these other people are doing are completely up to them and them as an individual. It's got nothing to do with you, and I think that's where most of the stick came from, where people were just acting up because they were there. They were there to act up in the first place. I think
a lot of people complain that it felt like I was like making the fan base look bad when I was showing this content off, but it actually benefits the club, this content, because the security at the club will obviously get these clips. Obviously, I couldn't give you the actual examples, but obviously the club knows who I am. They will watch my videos, so if they see this sort of behaviour, chances are they will pass those videos onto the security, and chances are at some point security will come out saying, well, excuse me, I've seen you in a YouTube video last week doing this, do that again, and I'm going to call the police or something like that. So I do actually think it's a good thing. At times I put this video in. I'm not going to BS anyone. I put in what's at the training ground. I don't want to sort of give you a false sense of hope that everything's all sunshine and rainbows at the training ground. It's not. The training ground, let's be real, is a bit of a dump, hence why it's getting revamped up. And the people outside at times do get excited, they do see the players and they do want to meet them, and unfortunately at times it leads to the IQ dropping, I feel like, and they just do whatever the hell they want, and it's not great. Obviously I speak to some of the lads at the training ground just to see how they crack on, and some of them do get carried away, and it's just, I mean, there's not more I can say really. The club has to be responsible for that, and obviously I have to tell them off themselves. I'm not going to do that for them.
That would be a great video where it's just Adam telling people off outside.
Stop doing that now!
Well, look, Adam, it's been great to have you on. It's been great to get started. Back doing the podcast, back together. We'll leave on the burning question that everyone wants to know. I've had people messaging us for days, and just everyone wants to know, Adam, what is your ideal meal deal?
Ideal meal deal. I don't actually get one very often, to be honest. But whenever I go to Tesco, I think I'm pretty boring, but I also got like a bottle of water, a pack of the crisps. It depends what Tesco is, because there's all sorts of different selections in there. And as for the sandwich, it's just a ham sandwich. I'm pretty plain and boring.
Adam is that. It's not salt.
Probably ready salted crisps.
Is it?
And I don't think I'm that button, no, but it's quite close, to be honest.
Right, well lads, we'll leave it there. Going for quite a while, so it's been great to get started, and please subscribe, it'll help the channel grow as we're getting started, and there's going to be plenty more to come. So this has been the MagPiece podcast, and yeah, we'll see you again soon. Bye.
Cheers.